The wind whispered through the trees. A chill hung in the air. It was Halloween night in Hollow Creek, and the veil between worlds felt thin. Jack-o'-lanterns, grinning with wicked delight, lined the sidewalks. Their orange glow reflected in the terrified eyes of costumed children. Among them was 10-year-old Tommy, his innocence a flickering candle in the growing darkness. Excitement bubbled in Tommy's chest. His plastic pumpkin, shaped like a grinning skull, was already half full of candy. But Tommy craved more than just sweets. He craved adventure. He longed to touch the darkness that whispered on the wind. Little did Tommy know, the darkness had already taken notice of him. Beyond the comforting glow of streetlights lay the forest. A dense wall of ancient oaks and gnarled maples swallowed the light, creating an impenetrable barrier. It stood there, silent and watchful, a brooding presence at the edge of town. Legends whispered through the schoolyard about the forest and the things that lurked within. But Tommy, fueled by youthful bravado, dismissed them as mere stories. He felt a magnetic pull towards the edge of the woods. A strange curiosity, a yearning for something beyond the ordinary, tugged at his soul. Tommy told himself it was just the spirit of Halloween, the thrill of the unknown. He didn't hear the whispers in the back of his mind, the insidious voice urging him closer. He didn't see the two pinpricks of light, glowing with malevolent amusement, watching him from the shadows. A figure emerged from the darkness. Tall and skeletal, it moved with an unsettling grace. Its face, painted a grotesque parody of joy, was stretched into a wide, chilling grin. The clown's eyes, two glowing orbs of pure malice, held Tommy captive. "Lost, little one?" the clown rasped, his voice a jarring mix of merriment and decay. He held out a gloved hand, a single piece of candy glistening enticingly in his palm. It was a lollipop swirled with vibrant colors, too perfect, too alluring. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through Tommy's excitement. He wanted to run, to scream, but his feet felt rooted to the spot. The clown's eyes held him captive, drawing him in like a moth to a flame. He reached out, his hand trembling, and accepted the candy. The last vestiges of light from the streetlights faded as the clown dragged Tommy deeper into the woods. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay and damp earth. The temperature plummeted, sending shivers down Tommy's spine. He wanted to cry out, but terror choked his voice. The forest seemed to press in around them, the trees twisting into grotesque shapes. The shadows danced and writhed, taking on the forms of monstrous creatures. Tommy stumbled through the undergrowth, his small hand clutched in the clown's surprisingly strong grip. Ahead, a faint light flickered through the trees. As they drew closer, the light grew stronger, revealing a clearing bathed in an eerie, otherworldly glow. In the center stood a circle of ancient stones, their surfaces etched with strange symbols. Section 5. The Heart of Darkness. The clown, with a sinister grin, shoved Tommy towards the center of the clearing, his laughter echoing through the trees. He stumbled and fell, landing hard on the cold, hard ground, the impact knocking the wind out of him. Looking up, he saw that the stones were arranged in a perfect circle, creating a makeshift altar that seemed ancient and foreboding. In the center lay a large, flat stone, stained a dark, rusty brown, as if it had witnessed countless dark rituals. The air crackled with energy, sending a jolt of fear through Tommy's body, making his heart race uncontrollably. He tried to crawl away, to escape the nightmare unfolding before him, but strong hands grabbed his arms, pinning him to the ground with an iron grip. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the forest, leaving him feeling utterly alone. The clown stood over him, his grin widening into a grotesque mockery of a smile, eyes gleaming with malevolent delight. "Don't be afraid, little one," he crooned, his voice dripping with false sympathy, each word a twisted lullaby. "It'll all be over soon," he whispered, his tone promising anything but comfort. Section 6. Chants and Shadows. The clown began to chant. The words, guttural and harsh, were unlike any language Tommy had ever heard. They seemed to claw at the edges of his mind, tearing at his sanity. The shadows around them writhed and pulsed, growing larger and more menacing as the chanting intensified. The air grew thick with the stench of sulfur, choking Tommy's lungs. He struggled against his bonds, but it was no use. He was trapped, helpless against the forces the clown was unleashing. The symbols on the stones began to glow, casting an eerie, otherworldly light across the clearing. A low hum vibrated through the air, growing steadily in intensity. The ground beneath them trembled. Tommy closed his eyes, a single tear rolling down his cheek. He was ready for the end. Section 7. A Vessel of Chaos. The chanting reached a fever pitch, echoing through the dense, dark forest. The clown threw back his head and let out a roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of the forest, a sound so chilling it sent shivers down the spines of all who heard it. A blinding light erupted from the center of the stone circle, bathing everything in an unearthly glow, casting long, eerie shadows that danced around the trees. Tommy shielded his eyes, his small body trembling uncontrollably, feeling the raw power emanating from the circle. When the light subsided, the clown stood triumphant, his body radiating power, an aura of malevolence surrounding him. Gone was the playful menace, replaced by something ancient, something evil, a presence that seemed to have existed for eons. His eyes glowed with an infernal fire, and a wide, predatory grin stretched across his face, promising unspeakable horrors. He had become a conduit, a vessel for something truly monstrous, a being of pure malevolence. The portal above the altar pulsed and swirled, a gateway to a realm of unimaginable horror, its dark energy palpable. Tommy, staring into its depths, felt a primal fear grip his heart, a terror that seemed to reach into his very soul. He knew, with chilling certainty, that he was witnessing the birth of something terrible, something that would change the world forever. Section 8. Reign of Terror. The town of Hollow Creek never stood a chance. The clown, now a conduit of pure chaos, descended upon the unsuspecting town like a plague. Houses erupted in flames, their cheerful Halloween decorations twisting into grotesque mockeries. The streets, once filled with the laughter of children, echoed with the screams of the terrified. Costumes became shrouds. Candy turned to ash in their mouths. The very fabric of their reality unraveled as the clown's power spread, corrupting and destroying everything in its path. Parents desperately tried to protect their children, but against such unholy power, they were powerless. The night was alive with the sounds of madness and destruction. And through it all, the clown's laughter echoed, a chilling symphony of terror that heralded the town's doom. Section 9. Unstoppable Evil. The clown moved through the chaos like a conductor leading a symphony of destruction. His touch brought only ruin, his laughter heralded only despair. He reveled in the fear, feeding on the terror that gripped the hearts of the townsfolk. He was a force of nature, unstoppable, inevitable. The once bright decorations of Halloween, now twisted and grotesque, served as a macabre backdrop to his reign of terror. Jack-o'-lanterns leered with demonic glee, their carved grins mocking the town's suffering. The once festive atmosphere was now a suffocating blanket of dread, a tangible manifestation of the town's collective fear. In the face of such overwhelming evil, hope withered and died. The residents of Hollow Creek, once filled with the joy of the season, were left with only the cold, hard certainty of their doom. Section 10. A Town Forever Scarred. The sun rose on a town forever changed, casting long shadows over the remnants of what once was. The streets of Hollow Creek, once so full of life and laughter, were now silent, littered with the debris of a nightmare that seemed never-ending. The houses stood empty, their windows shattered eyes staring out at the devastation, as if mourning the loss of their inhabitants. The air, thick with the stench of smoke and decay, carried a chilling silence that was more terrifying than any scream, a silence that spoke of unspeakable horrors. The clown was gone, vanished back into the shadows from whence he came, leaving behind a trail of fear and sorrow. But the terror lingered, a festering wound on the soul of the town. a constant reminder of the evil that had walked among them. The survivors, haunted by the horrors they had witnessed, would forever be changed, their eyes reflecting the nightmares that now plagued their every waking moment. Their innocence lost, their spirits broken, they were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, trying to rebuild in the shadow of their trauma. Halloween would never again be a time for celebration in Hollow Creek. The decorations, once symbols of joy, now stood as grim reminders of the night of terror. It would forever be a reminder of the night the darkness consumed their town, the night evil walked among them, and the night their laughter turned to screams, echoing through the empty streets.